7-Elevens in Japan are on another level. They've got fried chicken, rice balls, fresh sushi, and you can even pay your bills. But I'm not there. Instead, I'm here at a 7-Eleven in the US where you're lucky to find a hot dog. And by you, I mean me.
Even though they're both owned by the same parent company, Japanese stores have regularly held a better reputation than their American counterparts.
But that could all change. Right now, a Canadian retail giant is offering $47 billion to acquire 7-Eleven's Japanese parent company. And if approved, it'll be one of the largest foreign takeovers in Japanese business history. Couche-Tard claims it could do a better job translating the success of Japan to other countries, but can it really fix American 7-Eleven? To find out, I'm exploring how 7-Eleven became a beloved institution in Japan while struggling in the country that it was founded in. And it's not just about the food, it's about a completely different vision of what role these stores play in our daily lives. Okay, before we get going, I gotta call out one thing right off the bat. This whole story is extremely ironic, and that's what makes today's situation even more fascinating and complex, you know, like a multi-layered taquito. Let me explain. 7-Eleven started in America, not Japan, specifically here in Dallas, Texas, nearly 100 years ago.
In the 1970s, 7-Eleven's billion-dollar success in the US and Canada caught the attention of Japanese grocery company Ito-Yokado, which negotiated to franchise 7-Eleven in Japan. And it did so well that by 2005 it had acquired full ownership and renamed the company 7-I, with the I standing for Ito-Yokado.
Today, America's 7-Eleven is a wholly owned subsidiary of 7-I. And though the US had quite a head start, Japan has roughly doubled the amount of 7-Elevens than the US, despite being, much smaller in both geography and population. But the real shock isn't the number of stores, it's how efficient they are at making a profit. 7-Eleven in the US and Canada has an operating margin of about 5%. Japan? Around 27%, according to 7-I. So given that the US has way fewer stores to manage than Japan, why can't they perform in the same way?
Oh my god, this is so delicious.
The hot food at the 7-Eleven in the US, we got a lot of options, not as many as Japan.
First up, we got Japan. You can get pretty much anything and everything here. But to the American 7-Eleven, the ready-to-go food section is pretty weak.
Now, 7-Eleven is typically known for its quick, cheap, and convenient eats.
This is the worst sandwich I've ever had.
American 7-Elevens have become a punchline, synonymous with gas station food and convenience at the expense of quality. But Japanese 7-Eleven stores are treated more like high-precision operations than simple retail shops. First, let's talk supply chain. In 1979, Ito-Yokado created the Nihon Delica Foods Association, or NDF, a conglomerate of food production companies. NDF's job is to keep meals as fresh as possible from factory to store. NDF purchases ingredients, develops new recipes, and monitors food safety, and as of February 2024, the organization had 172 factories around Japan. That's a lot of onigiri. And a side note here to make me feel even worse about eating that hot dog earlier, 7-I also collaborates with the famous restaurant Hachidaime Gihei to produce the best rice possible and to keep it fresh from the factory all the way to your gullet. Another benefit, since it all comes from the same place, the quality should be consistent across all about 20,000 stores. Yeah, that was just the first strategy. Buckle up, America. Reason number 2 may be what moves the needle even more. Many business owners order whatever inventory they're low on. 7-Eleven Japan takes a more active approach. It lays a careful eye on customer and item-by-item trends. I wasn't able to find exact specifics by item, but hypothetically, say this Japanese 7-Eleven orders 3 pieces of sushi. When the sushi comes in, the store scans and stocks. Then a customer comes in and buys one of them. The store then scans out the piece, which sends an order back to the distribution center. The distribution center then gets the notification and sends a restock of 1 sushi. This active ordering approach, called Tanpan Kanri, involves a constant inventory check. Items are scanned when they're restocked, and inventory is counted down one by one at checkout. And throughout the day, the store is resupplied. Now, a robust fresh food supply chain and item-by-item inventory management don't seem like big business secrets, so why haven't US 7-Elevens taken big gulps of that strategy? Ooh. Let's go back to that good old supply chain. In the US, 7-Eleven relies on distribution company McLane, which delivers food daily to 7-Eleven locations from 80 distribution centers. The problem? McLane is in an open relationship with 7-Eleven. Those 80 distribution centers also supply Walmart, Taco Bell, KFC, Pizza Hut, and more. That's a lot of friends. Whereas the NDF in Japan, remember them, they exclusively supply 7-Eleven Japan. that's relationship material. And this is pretty obvious, but once again, the US is way larger geographically and higher in population. To implement comparable fresh food infrastructure with dedicated facilities for high-quality offerings likely requires millions in investment. The US just hasn't invested in 7-Eleven as anything beyond a convenience store. And that's because for a long time, it just didn't need to. Their mainstay products guaranteed loyal customers.
And that worked really well. Pop in for some cigarettes and gas and almost certainly buy some other odds and ends while there, but now that those profits are plummeting nationwide, smoke signals are rising.
The core difference between Japanese and American versions isn't just food quality, it's a fundamentally different approach to what a convenience store can be. In Japan, 7-Eleven functions as much more than an in-and-out snack and cigarette den. 7-Eleven Japan offers a banking center where you can access ATMs and financial services, a package delivery point where you can send and receive packages, a bill payment location for utilities and government fees, and a place to access government services and print official documents. The stores position themselves as neighborhood hubs that people need to visit regularly for all those reasons. And with each visit, customers often leave with a bento box or some other fresh food that caught their eye. It's similar to the Target trip here in the US. You can't just buy what you came for. All that helps explain why Japanese and American operating margins are completely different. Japanese stores aren't relying on just, cigarettes and gasoline to drive profits. There's all that other critical stuff. As the president of 7-Eleven Japan said in the company business model in 2012, the store wants to be an irreplaceable part of customers' daily lives. American 7-Elevens, like other American convenience stores, are purely transactional, places you stop only when necessary and leave as quick as possible. I would know, I was at one today. And that's a big issue for 7-Eleven US. Not every company can easily replicate its success in international markets. But what separates the likes of 7-Eleven from the big winners like McDonald's? To answer that, we've assembled a list of lessons from companies like Liquid Death and 7-Eleven that failed to break through at the same scale internationally, and companies that actually did it right like Walmart. We give you specific strategies that make a brand successful anywhere. So if you want to expand a brand globally, or if you're just curious about why you can't find a single Target in Canada, give this QR code a scan or head to the link in the video description. One company that might like that information is Couche-Tard, because they may want to optimize 7-Eleven if they're now offering $47 billion for it. Couche-Tard's original offer of roughly $39 billion came in August of 2024, but since initially declining the deal, 7&I has stayed pretty quiet. Couche-Tard has been persistent though. In March of 2025, it issued a new statement saying, quote, "We can achieve significantly more together than each of our companies can achieve individually, including accelerating the global growth of the iconic 7-Eleven brand and strengthening the 7&I business in many parts of the world." Now, this growth would involve divesting around 2,000 7-Eleven locations in the US to avoid antitrust issues. Because Couche-Tard is number 2 in the convenience store world and they're trying to buy number 1. But in their words, the acquisition would mean a deeper focus on building
world-class management
and
world-class infrastructure
for the remaining stores. While 7-Eleven's average daily sales in Japan exceed those of its main competitors, Lawson and Family Mart, sales at both their rivals are growing, giving store owners the impression that 7-Eleven could benefit from some fresh leadership. Regardless, negotiations are still continuing on for the sale, which will potentially reach a decision in May of 2025, right around the time this video comes out. Stay tuned on that. Couche-Tard has already successfully managed 7-Eleven's second-place convenience store rival, Circle K, since 2003. But if they want to replicate the success of Japan's 7-Elevens here in the United States, I got a few tips. First, operational excellence matters more than surface-level branding. Japan's 7-Eleven succeeded not because of its name or logo, but because of sophisticated inventory management and supply chain systems. Second, success in one market doesn't automatically translate to another. Cultural context, geography, and infrastructure all play crucial roles that can't be ignored. And third, systems win, not just products. Japan's network of food preparation facilities created an advantage that competitors really struggle to match. The story of 7-Eleven illustrates a broader truth about global businesses. Adapting to local markets isn't just about translating your signage or adjusting your menu. It requires rethinking how your business operates. Even in a seemingly simple business like a convenience store, getting the soda details right can make millions of dollars in difference. So, will American 7-Elevens get on Japan's level? The challenges proved to be a big bite, but Couche-Tard seems willing to chew. It would just mean a complete reimagining of what role convenience stores play in American life. Moving from simply convenient to essential. Now, if you got the bug to learn more about the convenience store landscape, check out this video on the booming business of gas station pizza. And scan the QR code or hit the link in the description for our list of global expansion misfires and triumphs. You're going to want to read that.